What up is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. We are going to be doing round 2 of a 1QB mock draft that RayGQue did. The first round was, of course, Saturday. We are today, Monday, a couple days away from draft time. Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday, we're going to be doing the finalized pre-draft rankings, and then we are going to be reacting to the round 1 draft as immediately as possible as we can possibly do. Maybe even do a live draft as well. I am going to be a solo parent that night. My wife has a different event, so I'm going to be trying my best to be watching, of course, the NFL draft, but reacting to it immediately so then you guys that have drafts immediately after the NFL draft can have updated information, see exactly what is going on. This is the greatest time of Dynasty drafting. I love this time because the NFL draft really doesn't mean a ton if you're not in Dynasty. I mean, it means a lot for, let's say, my Vikings, Woo Skull, but it doesn't mean a ton besides that. Like, I don't care who Green Bay picks. I don't care who Houston picks. Now I care who everybody picks. And I've cared about that way since I've started Dynasty years ago. So we're going to start with over here to this little area. You'll see what they mock draft. Alec Pierce, Malik Willis, Justin Ross, Matt Corral, James Cook, Pierre Strong, Kenny Pickett, Jalen Tolbert, David Bell, Zamir White, Trey McBride, and John Mechie. The third. And so that is and they don't have the rounds on each of these picks and stuff, but we're going to be going through it. Now, this is what they had. Now I'm going to be going through my 12. My 12 is different, and I even think Ray said it best as well, that there were some players in the mid to the late second round that he would rather have earlier, that this is just how their mock draft ended up going. My number 1, he fell all the way to 209. I am taking David Bell. Analytics make you want to kind of, just looking at his speed, he reminds me of a lot of like Rashad Bateman. He's good at things. He's not great at things. In fact, if you talk about him middle of this year, you could have even said that he was a top 5 Dynasty wide receiver. He has just been plummeting off boards because he doesn't have these elite special traits. He's a really good wide receiver. He reminds me, not even level like a Jarvis Landry or Keenan Allen, but you can see that they performed bad when it came to their type of pro days, combines, and they fell into drafts. And then this is where you get some of these players that are good wide receivers. Like, I'd rather have David Bell as a NFL wide receiver easily over like a John Mechie or heck, even over Justin Ross and stuff. Like, I would rather have David Bell. So he would be my 201, which I know is kind of a jump through there. But 202, and by the way, I will tell you each round that these players are drafted, and he was drafted in the 3rd round by Detroit. Draft capital is so important in this second round of Dynasty drafts and the 3rd round as well. But the only other running back taken in the top 3 rounds was James Cook, and I would take him at 302 here. 202. Miami was a spot. He was taken in at 205 in their mock, but I would jump up there and grab him at 202. I know that Chase Edmonds is probably that role that James Cook is idolizing to, but I think that you could arguably say that Raheem Mostert is old and injury prone, and so what are they going to do? Is it going to be Myles Gaskin? What's going to happen there? I think James Cook is going to get a lot of chances at the next level, partly due to his name. You can't see on this wall because I have the other wall that has Dalvin Cook's jersey on it. But I have Dalvin Cook's jersey on the other wall, and so this is where I am taking draft capital in the last, in my opinion, not even good running back, but the last running back that is in that tier, we're going to call it 3, because you have the tier 1, which is, of course, Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall. Tier 2, Isaiah Spiller by himself. And then tier 3, this whole multitude of running backs. And he's in that tier, and he has the draft capital, so he gets the 202 spot. 203, we're going to go with Jalen Tolbert, and the reason for that, Dallas and the 2nd round draft capital. Dallas is a great landing spot for a wide receiver, especially with Amari Cooper gone, and the 2nd round draft capital. Again, when we start getting into these wide receivers, Tolbert's not somebody that like makes me go, oh my goodness, that is such a horrible pick, like Tutu Atwell or Dwayne Eskridge. Like, those are players that I had way, way, way down the boards, and all of a sudden I was just like, wow, they move up a little bit because of their 2nd round draft capital. He's actually like a tier, I don't have it in my notes. I think like tier 4, tier 5 wide receiver, but he gets that jump because of Dallas and the 2nd round. Number 4, I do it. Alec Pierce, Cleveland, round 3, so draft capital plus round, And Alec Pierce is somebody that I have been liking more as I've been watching more tape, and I don't just stop watching tape when draft time hits. I keep watching it, and I go, okay, well, how is this Dallas team going to incorporate Jalen Tolbert? How is this Cleveland team going to incorporate Alec Pierce? Is it going to be a successful 24 months, 36 months for a rookie wide receiver, especially for these round 2, round 3 guys? The round 1, I mean, those are primarily you're banking on talent, but when you start getting into the second round, third round, you're like, okay, how in the world can we get landing opportunity and we get draft capital? Like, what can we fit into the schemes of things? What things can you start trying to figure it out? Like, where's the next, even in running backs, like, where's the next Elijah Mitchell? Like, how does that come to fruition? James Robinson, even deeper wide receivers as well. That's how I try to figure it out. It's like, okay, like how we'll get to it more. But number 5, we're gonna go 5, 6, 7 right off the bat here, because really this is where I see a quarterback run going, and I see a lot of quarterback runs go in 1 QB in the middle of the second round, and this is exactly where I would see the quarterbacks go. Malik Willis, which I have a little bit lower, he goes to Detroit round 1. Kenny Pickett, Carolina, and then Matt Corral, 1, 2, 3. Desmond Ridder, he goes to Indianapolis. I didn't see a draft capital on RayGQue's video. Maybe I just missed it. But so that's where I would see the quarterback run. Again, in 1 QB, you really just need there's 12 quarterbacks. I could always pick up a Kirk Cousins or a Derek Carr in a 1 QB league for cheaper than there was a league that I traded for Tom Brady a couple of years ago because they thought he was going to fall off, and he has just been steady on my team. I have a league where I have Matt Ryan, and it's just like sometimes you have these ugly players that eventually, not even ugly players, it's just these players that are going to perform 90% of the time better than some of these quarterbacks. So 7, 8, or 6, 5, 6, 7, and with 8. Which, if I go down, this was a 306 pick, and so it's not on the board here. Number 8 and number 9 are not on the board because it's on the third round of their rookie drafts. 306, Calvin Austin, Atlanta. Again, Calvin Austin, I think, has talent. Again, probably into that like tier 4 or 5 range. But he's a third round talent, and he goes to Atlanta. So if you go to the third round and you're in Atlanta, you got opportunity and draft capital. You got to be shot up the boards. Same with Khalil Shakir. Houston, third round. Same thing. That's all we have to say. That's 8 and 9 there. Number 10 and 11, John Mechie. He goes to New England, second round. Same thing. Draft capital. Like when you get into these tiers, it's draft capital, landing spot, opportunity. That's why he's at number 9 or number 10. And number 11, Trey McBride, Green Bay Packers. I understand they hate tight ends, but at this point, we start getting into ugly 4th and 5th round running backs and wide receivers, and I just don't like it. I mean, you look at even Rachaad White and Kyron Williams and all these different running backs and wide receivers, Wan'Dale Robinson, they're all drafted 5th, 6th round. Zamir White, 5th round, Pierre Strong, 4th round to Kansas City. They already drafted Walker in the second round. So it's like we start getting into the ugly things that I don't like. And so number 11 will be Trey McBride. Number 12, Justin Ross, Jacksonville. He is a 4th round pick. Right here, I will put him as number 12 because he's got a reconnection with Trevor Lawrence. I guess that's my only biggest thing that puts him above maybe like a Zamir White in the 5th round, or Pierre Strong in the 4th round, or a Kyron Williams or Rachaad White. And I'm not even super confident with that, but that's exactly what I'm thinking. By the way, so that was a mock draft of the second round. Has anybody ever seen Severance on Apple TV? I'm just going to do like a quick 30-second. I love that show. I've actually been watching that a ton. So I actually just finished season 1. There is no season 2 out right now, but it is one of my favorite TV shows. Gosh, in the last couple of years, it is a very mentally mind-twisting like puzzle, what's going on, constant cliffhangers. The beginning couple episodes are they're like really, really good. Then you get into 4, 5, and 6, and they're good, but they're not amazing. And then you get to 7, and it's like, whoa. And then 8 hits you. And then 9, the ending is like, what the heck is going to happen? So Severance, in a summary, is directed by Ben Stiller. Adam Scott is the major character, the main character. And basically your work-life balance. let's just say I was going to work and I did these videos, and my work life would kick in, and all of a sudden my work life wouldn't know my personal life, and my personal life wouldn't know my work life. So that's what it's called severance. You basically, they're working for a company, and you're trying to figure out, is the company good? Is it bad? What are they doing? And he's trying to connect his inside out stuff with his outside self, and it just gets very complicated. Highly recommend. It was one of my favorite shows. I also watched. I know we're not talking about fantasy football, but the Patriot on Amazon Prime. If you're an Amazon Prime person, Patriot. It's a 2-season series. It's basically, I think, about I want to make sure I do this correctly because I watched it a couple of years ago, and I feel like no one talks about it. It's a show about basically a spy. We'll just call him a spy. All he has to do is take money and move it from one place to another. But basically, he's around a bunch of idiots that constantly make his life harder and harder and harder. And he's just like super depressed. It has interesting humor. The Patriot on Amazon Prime. I think it's called The Patriot instead of Patriot, because one of them's the movie and one of them's the TV show. I don't want the Mel Gibson movie. I like to give, if you are tired, if you are pre-drafting and you are like, hey, I'm tired of watching this Dynasty stuff, or watching the NFL draft, or I'm in the heck, if you're gonna watch day 3 of the draft, you could literally put some of these shows on your phone while you watch it on the TV, because I mean, there's like 15 minutes between picks. You're gonna have a lot to look and a lot to think about. So again, hey, 2 recommendations on TV. All right, Severance is on Apple TV. And then The Patriot is on Amazon Prime. You're welcome. Let me know if you've seen any of those shows. All right, peace out. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Now turn up.